impossible. We are now on the air. Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. I have the distinct pleasure this evening of having a dear friend on the phone, and of course we can't stop laughing moments before airtime because that's what friends do. Anyway, you've seen her on the show, you've seen her on national news. Zilla Monstella, aka Robin, president and co-founder of Desmond's Army, is with me by phone. Good evening, Robin.
Good evening, Theo.
How are you? And thank you for joining us.
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Always. As I said, you know, when you're friends with somebody, it's really easy to forget that you're on TV. But anyway, we are going to be like really good, and we're going to forget all of the hijinks that happened just before we went live. And we are here to talk about a couple of few things here. And we're going to start with a quick update on the puppy doe trial. Last week I kind of had a little in-depth report from a dear friend, Hildy Martis, who has attended a number of the trial dates, the court dates rather, pre-trial, and she went to one during the trial. Robin, you were going to go this week, but we had some crazy weather, and that kind of precluded that whole plan.
Who's Robin?
Who's Robin? Zilla. She prefers Zilla. It's not even her name, but whatever. Okay, so
It's my alias.
it's your alias, I know, and I call you a whole bunch of things, and usually it's not Robin or Zilla. I love you. So,
True.
puppy doe, the jury on Thursday went into deliberations, and there was no court on Friday, so they will resume on Monday, and hopefully it'll be a swift verdict, and hopefully it will be guilty on all 11 counts. That would be a beautiful thing. Robin, you said earlier that you think that it's going to go until Wednesday at least?
My good friend Marriott Slater and I are going up on Wednesday, and she has inside info from the front line, and they think that the verdict will be reached on Wednesday. And she and I are going up there, and we will also be meeting with Paulina Kuchersky, who's doing the Puppy Doe documentary. Marriott set that up for us, so that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
I was personally hoping that, you know, by Tuesday it would be a wrap because, you know, A, it's been so long in the making, and B, he's guilty.
Hell yes. And it may very well wrap on Tuesday. We don't know. We just don't know what the jury's going to do.
No, of course not. And
They just need to find him guilty. That's all we know.
yeah, that would make so many of us very happy in so many different ways. And,
Yeah.
you know, you guys, what happened to my pictures? Was I supposed to? So we didn't hammer out the details. So as we're talking, we've got some of the pictures that I chose for this show, just kind of like showing Zilla and me. And remember what we're going to do with these in the background, guys? Yeah, there we go. Always a pleasure here to have things fly by the seat of my pants. So anyway.
Dad, get the pictures up, would you?
Yeah, right? So yeah, we're hoping for a swift verdict in the puppy doe trial, but you know, if they have to take a little extra time and get it right, that's good too. It just needs to come back with justice for that poor dog who
Yes, it does.
suffered immeasurably, and you know, there have been so many people. Fortunately, she's at peace, but so many people are still so torn up about it. You know, I think there's that evil word that I hate, the closure word.
I know.
So many of us need to feel better about the whole thing and see him rot in hell. Anyway.
We just need justice. Okay.
Yeah, we just need justice. So, moving along to things closer to home, you posted something this morning on Facebook, and I reached out to you and I was like, wait, what? Yeah, because some people are like me and they don't quite understand what's happening and like the big picture, and maybe need it dumbed down a little bit. So you're here to dumb it down. And there is a plea for action on this first item that we're going to talk about, which is the Accelerated Rehabilitation Reform, and it's bill number HB 5572.
Well, I'm glad you came up with a number because I didn't write that down.
Well, yeah, see, while we were on the phone this morning, I was doing that.
Well,
Or this
I
afternoon.
did a lot of other things.
Or whatever.
Okay, so let's first go into accelerated rehabilitation. It's basically a get-out-of-jail-free card in Connecticut. And it's available to defendants who are charged with certain crimes that the court believes that the defendants will not commit again. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. So at that point, the defendant must take part in an alcohol or drug treatment program, or psychiatric or psychological counseling, or, wait for it, take part in animal cruelty prevention and education program, which does not exist in the state of Connecticut.
Oh, good. So they can
Let that sink in.
they can order you to participate in a program that doesn't exist in the state.
Does not exist. Yes. And I took this off the judicial page, the state of Connecticut judicial page, and the animal cruelty prevention and education program does not exist.
I know. I never heard of it.
Okay. There you go. So anyway, after...
So it's a slap. It's what we call a slap on the wrist.
There it is. Exactly. So after the person does this, then the record becomes expunged.
Which means, for someone who doesn't know,
the record is erased. There is no record. So it doesn't matter what the person has done to this animal.
like Desmond.
Like Desmond, who was systematically tortured and murdered, and, you know, the defendant no longer has a record of that violent crime.
Unbelievable.
Record's gone.
That's
So what this bill will do is it doesn't take accelerated rehabilitation off the table for felony act. It is an interim bill, essentially. You know, it's something, it's a stepping stone, if you will. And what it will do is make a prosecutor show good cause in order to invoke a pretrial program for AR on behalf of a person charged with animal abuse.
Okay, so what will it really mean for Connecticut abuse cases? I mean, how will it change things?
Well, doing this, the prosecutor is forced to think about the charge and write a report as to why the crime committed was not a violent act. And, you know, sorry. I lost my notes.
Good job.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, you know, they have to write why it's not a violent act. So it forces them to think about what the act actually was. So
Okay.
what this will do is it will help to alleviate the amount of AR that is handed out for free.
Okay, so basically it's spelling the crime out to try to put it in more of a black and white term, to prevent people from getting off so easily.
Exactly. exactly.
Okay, so we do need something like this because up until Desmond's Army and Desmond's Law, so many animal abusers were just getting off with this slap on the wrist.
Absolutely.
Now, the call to action is regarding this bill. What
Right.
do people need?
It was epidemic. It was basically, AR is basically epidemic.
And, you know, that may be because until Desmond's Law, I think the court system, the judges, nobody really knew what to do with it.
No, they don't. They don't know what to do with it.
And like
don't
even
know where to put it. But, you know, again, as I've mentioned in previous shows, animal cruelty is a precursor to human violence.
absolutely, and sometimes it's in
domestic.
tandem. It's not even necessarily a precursor. It's in tandem.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are those that start with animals and they graduate to human violence,
People.
domestic violence.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, the call to action is regarding this bill. What do people need to do to help, and by when? We have a short deadline relative to this show.
Oh, we have a very short deadline. It is Sunday.
Sunday at midnight, I think it was.
Sunday at midnight.
All right. So
And
what do people need to do who are listening and want to get involved?
They need to write a testimony to the Judiciary Committee at www.judtestimony, testimony, .cga.ct.gov. You can also find a template along with the email address at Desmond's Army website, which is desmondsarmy.com.
Now, I have the actual email address as judtestimony@cga.ct.gov.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you say write a testimony, that may put some people off. All it
Okay.
really has to be is an email, a letter.
Right. Right.
You know, again, when people see the word testimony, they kind of tighten up and tense up.
All right.
because-
So forget about that word. Just forget
Yeah.
about that word.
So
Just,
it's just an email. It's a letter. It's
yeah.
you know, I support this bill. You know, if you're not sure what to say, you guys do have a template letter
We do.
that is available. And you know,
Absolutely.
these template letters, basically you fill in your information and the rest of the letter is written for you. So there becomes just about no excuse for
There's
not
no
doing it.
excuse whatsoever.
Yeah,
You go to our webpage,
which is again,
army.com, and you go to resources, go to links, and there it is.
and just email it.
Desmondsarmy.com, go to resources, go to links, and it's there.
Okay, so again, all you have to do is fill in your information. If you want to expand on it a little bit, feel free. You know, there's nobody saying that it has to be, you know, the stock words of what the template is. And maybe just reading the template will give you a little bit of inspiration to write your own.
And yeah,
Or just copy and paste it and doctor it, but just send it, just do it. Because
just send it.
the stronger we make the laws, even if, like you said, by baby steps, the closer we get to where we want to be in the state, as far as making these penalties as stiff as we possibly can along the way. Correct?
Just send it.
Just send it. Just do it. So yeah.
And again, it must be done by this Sunday. This Sunday,
As in tomorrow,
as in tomorrow,
by midnight.
which is Sunday the 25th,
Tomorrow.
by midnight.
Tomorrow.
It must be done by March 25th at midnight.
That's March 25th, 2018 at midnight.
At midnight.
Yeah, can't stress that enough. Because we really need to get this part of the change behind us.
We need to start this. We need to start this change on AR. And like I said before, it's baby steps. It's not exactly what we wanted initially.
But you'll take it.
It was recommended by a prosecutor that we all love. So, and it was a prosecutor in Desmond's case. So this is what was recommended as the first step to having AR removed as a felony for felony offenders.
So it's like you said, it's a stepping stone. It's a bridge.
Exactly.
It's a means to an end.
Right.
And sometimes you can't change anything so drastically, so quickly, because people balk. Look at how they resisted Desmond's law. How many times did that try to go through before it passed?
It was 3 years, and on the 4th session it went through.
Right. So, there's always going to be a little bit of resistance to the unknown, and this is really groundbreaking law changes, groundbreaking movement. Everybody likes to be complacent and keep things the way they've always been.
I don't like to be complacent.
No.
Who you talking to?
Yeah, no, I don't like complacency either. Not when it comes to animal rights anyway. But, I mean, the lawmakers think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, it's broke. Let's fix it.
No, it's broke. It's broke.
It's very broke. So you've got some other stuff coming through the pipeline too, but not with as much urgency.
Right.
And
exactly.
The next thing that we have is the potential for an animal abuse registry, which is Bill SB 523. Let's talk about that.
Okay. What it will do is anyone convicted of animal abuse must register, and it's much like that of a convicted sex offender, which they have to register on the sex offender registry. The information will be public through a secure website, and rescues and ACOs and the public, if they wish, can verify if someone has a prior conviction of animal abuse.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes?
That's a very beautiful thing.
It is. It is. And we need it. We absolutely need it. On the other hand, the language on the bill is still being worked on. So it's going to be brought up at a later date. Now, whether it's brought up at a later date this session, which I know they want to, or next session, I don't know. But I think they're going to rework the language so that it's brought up this session.
That would be a good thing.
We need this.
You see a lot of
animal abuse registry.
Oh yeah. You see a lot of, people ponder the question and, post the things on Facebook. Oh, there should be an animal abuse registry. And there really should be, because some of these crimes are so severe. Do you want somebody, say you're a landlord, you know what I mean? And you have pets. Do you want your upstairs tenant to be the guy who's been torturing animals and, you've almost got him in your own living room? Right. Do you want that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, even if you're someone, when you link the domestic violence and how it escalates, if you've got kids, do you want that person near you?
Yeah, no, not so much.
Probably not, because your kids could be, what he's got his eye on for the next time. But aside from that, what it will do for the ACOs and the rescues is certainly be able to not place animals in danger. Like every potential adopter should get run through that system. I would think, if
Absolutely.
if due diligence is being done and, you know, these
Right.
people are doing their jobs, before you put an animal in a home, check.
Yeah.
So we'll stay in touch over that, and you know, if there happens to be any calls to action, we will definitely jump into another call for it. And
Okay.
as we're going into the last part of the show, there is one more bill that we are going to talk about, and this one's a little tougher than most.
Yeah, people don't want to hear about this
Nope.
because it's not a pleasant subject.
No, it's not.
The
And
subject you don't even want to think about the fact that it exists.
no, and
does.
unfortunately,
And it does.
It does.
Right here in the state of Connecticut.
Yep,
It
and people
does.
like to think, oh, not in my backyard, but guess what?
Right.
Look over your shoulder, folks, because it's a real thing.
It's here. It's here. And it's here and it's now.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely now, because you're working on
We're working on a case right now.
Yep. So go ahead.
All right, this is bestiality reform, people. Yes, bestiality reform. It's currently a misdemeanor in the state of Connecticut. Can you even believe that?
No.
I was speaking with an FBI agent, and his words were to me, if the question on a quiz was, is bestiality a misdemeanor or a felony, I would fail the quiz. So anyway, and it's lumped in with, I'm sorry, but it's lumped in with sex with a corpse.
Which is just
I'm
mind-boggling.
sorry, I got nothing.
Yeah,
You know?
that's mind-boggling that those two things are, in a sense, equal in the eyes of the law.
Exactly.
Because a
Exactly.
living thing and a dead thing are two different things.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the most
Yeah.
profound things I've ever said. But it's, you know, you're talking about violating a living being and violating a corpse. Which do you think should be a more punishable crime?
Right? Anyway, it will become a felony this year, come hell or high water. I was promised this. I was promised this by someone I trust implicitly. And that's really all I can say is I know one way or another it will get done.
And that's a beautiful
Currently,
thing.
it is. It's a beautiful thing. You know, it needs to be done.
And sadly,
And believe it or not, when I brought up the subject, there was a person in Legislator that gave me the business and asked me, well, how often does it occur? How often does it, is once okay? Is once okay?
yeah, no, not at all. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
I was furious. I was mortified. Oh man, I was spitting.
Yeah, no.
I was spitting. I'm still spitting.
That it would happen at all, that it would be a thought in
There's no
somebody's
reason.
mind.
There's no excuse. It should not happen, period. But
No.
here we are.
No,
It'll
there's
become a felony.
th-
Like I said, we currently have this horrific case going on through the court system in Torrington. And here I'm going to bring you back to AR. All right?
okay.
The defendant is being granted psychological AR, to which the record will be expunged, eliminated, after having violated multiple animals.
No.
And the defendant is only currently charged with one. The record will be expunged. The defendant raped a dog, and the record will be expunged.
No.
Now tell me we don't need AR reform.
We do. We absolutely do, because that's just the most sickening thing. How it's a thought in anybody's head to do that. And, you know, thank God this case came to light, because how many animals suffer this in the dark, in silence? Nobody hears their cries.
People don't know. Nobody knows.
People don't know.
And it goes on more than you want to think about.
Yes, it does.
You don't want to think about it, period. And that's the problem.
No.
You don't want to think about it.
No, people prefer to sweep things under the carpet. Like I said, the whole not in my backyard, that can't be happening. You know, that happens in other places. I don't have to do anything about it. I don't have to deal with it. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Because this is a case in Connecticut.
Northwest corner, the quiet little northwest corner of Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
Yep.
And it goes on more than you think.
Yeah.
More than you want to know.
No,
goes on.
It's sadly, it's anything from farm animals to domestic animals. And
well, this has been both, you know, farm animals and domestic animals. A family pet. A family pet.
No, that's something that so needs to not be a thing. It needs to be wiped out. We need to, as a state, put our foot down.
Absolutely, and say no more. No more.
All right.
If you do this, you are going to jail, period.
That should be the way it is.
This, you are going to jail.
We have our credits up. Say it with me, Z. Peace.
Peace.
Love.
Love.
And dogs. Thank you so much for joining me. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.